As the COVID crisis goes pandemic, Cuba closes its borders and kicks us out. We were low on food, fuel and water, but the Cuban military didn't want to hear any of that.
You have to go now!
And they escorted us out into international waters. We sailed to Jamaica, but are refused entry. We next try the Dominican Republic, but they kick us out too. Our only other option is Haiti, but we are forced out of the country and have to exit through reefs and shoals in the middle of the night. I was finally getting the hint. We would have to fend for ourselves on tiny little islands and reefs in the middle of nowhere that few people have ever seen, and wait until the world becomes normal again. We are really low on food and fuel, but the food situation is being dealt with. Our main worry is water. It has become critical. Day 51 finds us out at Morant Cays, a tiny group of islands south-southeast of Jamaica, where any day now we're expecting the authorities to kick us out.
Stranded in paradise, it's not as fun as it seems. These few days more boats have been showing up, so I think all up in the island it might be like 30-40 men in the island, so I don't feel very comfortable being the only woman around. Yesterday while Peter was spearing and I was here by myself after about one of the fishermen that I have arrived, they stopped by to say hi. That was actually very nice of him. They seemed all nice, but then he said, "Do you have anything to give to me?" And I was like, "Oh." I politely said no and smiled, and he said, "Okay, I'll just drop the man by and I'll come back." And I was so, no. I was feeling, oh no, what I'm gonna do? I don't have anything to give him. I was so nervous thinking, oh no, he's gonna come, Peter's not here. It was such a relief when Peter arrived and I felt, oh, he's back. Oh, we just cannot keep going like this. Mentally I just won't be able to put up with it.
Down by the sea, at the edge of the water, the coming way.
Back to shell collecting, one of the few things that gets Margarita to relax. As you can see, I'm a terrific help. You know, I thought the difficulty in cruising would have been external factors like storms, breakages and pirates, but it's not at all. The conquering of your mind is by far the greatest battle, and it's what Margarita was battling every day. Being kicked out of every country we go to, not knowing where to go, seasick almost continually while at sea, the boat, all our clothes and bedsheets are dirty and salty, and being the only woman in the middle of nowhere really took its toll on her. From my perspective though, I was like a pig in shit and having a ball. But of course, that didn't help her any at all.
I can carry on, pretending that everything's alright, and that it will be fine in the end. I step into the water.
With Margarita getting more anxious about being the only female amongst so many fishermen, we left Morant Cays with 3 days of meals ready to find a new hideaway. The charts show a place called Barrio Nuevo, which really is in the middle of nowhere. Hopefully it's far enough away from the pirate islands off Nicaragua and Honduras, but we really have no choice. Hopefully a day and a half later we ought to be there. The charts have been consistently wrong, being up to 4 miles out, so I need to be careful when we get close. Have plenty of sun up high in the sky so I can see the reefs. The sailing was brilliant during the day, however at night it died off and we really were going to struggle getting in the next day. This would mean another day of seasickness for Margarita, barely eating or drinking anything, so I wanted to try and avoid that.
We're just coming up to Nuevo Bank, it's a bit late.
I worked out that if we left early in the morning yesterday and we did just under 5 knots average, we'd get in here by 3. But of course, and the forecast was 15 to 20. But of course it died to nothing in the night. I think we had 8 knots and I was doing 3.5, struggling, and it was right up our bum. So it was terrible and it was rolling. And so now we're coming in probably 2 hours too late. There's a lighthouse.
We were very lucky. We came in on an unknown reef to us very late, many hours after, like I should have been in before, like 2. We found a patch of sand, we anchored, and I finally felt safe and secure tucked up behind the reef.
I don't know how safe we were. I know we are far away from everywhere, but from what we heard from the Jamaicans is there are fishers here that come and fish illegally, so I don't like that idea.
At 272 nautical miles from the Nicaraguan coast, I was looking forward to a place teeming with fish where we'd have no problems with gathering food at all. But this place was fished out. There was nothing around. Here's a dodgy repair on my fin, which broke later that day. There's something freaky about swimming a tiny little dinghy away from the boat on an isolated reef more than 200 miles from anywhere, but still no fish. There's some broken bottom here, so maybe there could be something under the ledges. Let's go check it out. If there was illegal fishing here, they must be fishing deep now, because wherever I checked it was virtually a desert, but there were crabs. This one is female though. I leave the females so there is some hope of regeneration. There has to be a male here somewhere. I found the male crab. He was really well hidden. It took me 4 breath holds just to get him out. The first thing I do is to make sure we have meals for a few days, just in case we get chased off and have to find another reef and do it all over again. 1 small fish, a lobster and a couple of crabs should feed us for a few days. How good's this place? All right, I see a pallet of wood. That's going to be good for a week, surely. No doubt this wooden pallet was left behind by an illegal fisherman, and also the bag of charcoal too. Margarita is not having a good time, and this place is really not paradise at all. Hey, we aren't dead, so it's all up from that. Well, that's it. That's the end of the island. There is no wood. I would say in a big sea, there would be no island, virtually. It would be completely awash. Not bringing any wood from Morant Caves was a big mistake. I just simply assumed with another island there'd be more driftwood. Well, we'll just have to make do. It really is a tiny island and only functional for us on low tide. On normal high tide, this is how much it is dry. On a big high tide, only the tilted old lighthouse base is above water. Yep, this is one small island, but it is enough for us. I was wondering what to use when we ran out of pallet, but the pallet's doing very little. This is the dried sargassum, and I put some diesel on it. It soaks it up and it acts as a wick. So I think we're sorted because we got a lot of. Margaret is now drying some out now. She's bringing it up, so we should be good. Certainly for a week, I think. It's not all bad being exiled, just making the most out of an unusual situation. This pallet is a godsend and I really don't want it to blow away, so I dismantle it and take it back to the boat. Okay, we're coming up to high tide now, and it's getting a bit rocky here. There's not really any land
to protect us. There's a bit of reef, but the waves come over, so we've got a lot of cross swell, so it's a bit rocky. So I have to sleep down on the floor near the oven, and Margarita's got to sleep here. Hello, Possum. How are you?
Hello.
So
It's not a bit, like Peter said, it like lots. It goes so much that your brain goes crazy and you cannot sleep. So we need to, instead of sleeping vertical like this.
No, you mean in line with the boat?
in line
You're
with
sleeping
the boat,
across
we
the
have
boat.
to sleep across.
And this bed doesn't really fit both of us unless we're sleeping on top of us, top of each other. Which I'm actually all for, but someone doesn't like that all night.
I like my space. Peter, this Carney was a gentleman and he's sleeping now on the floor, so both of us can sleep.
Yeah, I'm the dog's body. Now Margarita's going to get up and show you where I sleep. And yes, half of my bed is a beanbag.
You like it. Say it.
I do actually like it.
Don't lie.
It hugs me and it stops my brain rattling and letting those marbles bang into each other.
There is the oven,
Here's my beanbag.
the bean bag, and then he has his spoon over there under the nap station.
The season is changing with the trade winds dropping and squalls becoming more frequent. Soon gust fronts will come from any direction, meaning it is becoming dangerous to hang off the arse end of a reef. We need to catch rain, but this shower was not enough. If we don't catch more rain soon, we are going to be in trouble. My first mistake for the day is that I only have Margarita's gun with me, which is not powerful enough to shoot fish, but is perfect for crabs and lobsters, which seem to be the only thing here for us to eat. As you can see, there are only tiny reef fish like tangs and durgans, and I don't want to shoot dory. It's a sad state of affairs when we have to shoot triggerfish. These triggerfish are very wise here and keep a long way away. It took a long time for this one to finally come closer. Margarita's gun will not go through the tough skin of the triggerfish. There is only one place to shoot. Through the eyes, people. Not very nice, but I'm not here to make friends. It looks like it has scales, but it's a very thick, durable skin. Granted, my knives are not great, but the only way to get through the skin is with the point. Save the red meat for the curry we are making, and half the rest of the fish I'm going to do something different. No, Plucky, you can't make new blades for your broken fins. I was thinking it. Cut the fish into uniform strips of say 1/2 inch thick, and then mix in a pot of salt, sugar and chili powder to taste, and then dry in the sun and wind. Okay, this is a backup just in case we have bad weather or we're stuck at some other place and we can't get food. You might think it's a bit stupid. There's 2 frigate birds up there. They'll be joined by 6 to 8 others later on. These 2 have been eyeing this off quite carefully. There's chili powder on them, so they probably won't like it. But after a couple of hours, they go quite hard and dry, and they also stick to the net. So I'm banking on that they won't be able to actually swallow it because it's just too hard, because all of the stuff that they eat is soft. So, but I do suspect in the morning there might be some missing because they might have a test run. Anything to improve morale is important. Every girl loves battered fish, so this should be a winner. That's triggerfish. Yeah. Is it a bit like chicken in the consistency? Well, I suppose that's it in the compliments department. Well, I like the deep fried triggerfish. Just make sure you season the batter because the flesh has very little taste.
So basically every night before we went to sleep, we have the security bars on the hatch and the companionway, and radar goes on 20-minute watch. Now, that's all well and good. We feel safe and secure. Well, I got up in the middle of the night, and instead of using the toilet where I have to pump, I snuck out the back and I was hanging a whiz, and I saw some lights. It wasn't some lights, one light. It was a flashlight, and it was intermittent. It would go on and off, and occasionally it would flash up to us. And I was watching them for a while, and the light would go on and then off, and it was definitely coming closer, but at an angle. And I'm going, oh, I'll give it another 5 more minutes. Oh, I'll give it another 5, because I didn't want to wake Margarita, because...
Well,
look,
I'm glad it didn't wake me up. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sleeping at all, and I'm going to be doing my surveillance thing at night.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be at ease at all.
and it's so difficult to judge distances. Now, nothing was picked up by the radar at all. So I reckon it's only going to pick up fishing vessels if they're trying to sneak up on us when they're very close. But having said that, I saw the boat and I quickly snuck inside. I got all the guns all ready. I didn't load them or anything. I had the flare guns. I had every wasp spray. And I just waited. But eventually the light went out and I couldn't see. With the binoculars, I still couldn't. It was a brilliant moonlight. I still couldn't see it. So we're just going to have to make sure everything's bolted up and be ready. They're sort of coming closer. They're a little bit off. The vessel coming up to is huge. Margarita looks at it after doing the washing. She goes, oh my good, quick, let's get the weapons.
No,
Yes.
because they haven't replied on the radio.
Oh yeah, I checked on the radio. They're not answering, which is pretty odd. And Margarita goes, quick, get the spear guns loaded. Yeah, against this huge 150-foot military-looking vessel, although it's white. So it's probably a Coast Guard. So it's kind of funny. Margarita's on the toilet, so you can't quite... Oh, can you see her? Oh, sorry, I'm in trouble. Yeah, okay, let me get... I'll get the racket ball out, and the rackets. That could knock someone out. And the spear guns, that'll take 3. What are we supposed to do for the other 70 people on the boat with the M16s? Anyway, it's a tense situation at the moment. They're definitely coming towards us now.
Blanco, barco blanco, aquí velero Frida, ¿me copias?
Siga a velero para buque ARC Roncador de Guardacostas de Colombia.
Y no sabemos para dónde nos podemos deslocar, para qué países nos van a aceptar.
Interrogativo si ustedes tienen tanques donde puedan almacenar agua y tanques donde yo pueda pasarles combustible.
Bread and crackers.
Pineapple!
Wow!
Oh no, sausage. Oh, we have fruit.
Fruit, pear.
Melon.
Oh! Oh my goodness.
Jesus, we knew the Colombians were nice people.
They are lovely people.
Melon. It smells good.
This is how Margarita gets with me after she hasn't seen me for a couple of months. Well, maybe not.
Coffee?
I'll give him back the coffee.
Give them back the coffee.
Yeah.
What's this? Oh, crackers. Yeah, cookies. Because when we're starving and sailing, this is your best friend. Oh, more sausage.
Should we sterilize it? What are you happy so
We
for?
had fun. And they gave us water. I'm super happy. It feels so good that someone cares about you and you're healthy and simply just want to help you. This female officer, she was just went beyond. So she gave me female products that I've been needing, and she gave me treats. She gave chips, nice, some crackers, and a brownie.
The Colombian Coast Guard captain, I cannot speak too highly about. He had a real human heart. Clearly he knew something was up with a lone boat out here, and there were no boats anywhere. And there were no threats, there was no anger, there was no, what are you doing here? Clearly he knew something was up and something was wrong. And look, he just demonstrated intelligence and common sense, where in all the other countries, common sense seemed to go out the window. So good on you, Colombians, top stuff. We got 60 litres of diesel, 120 litres of water, and we got some food. And the most special food was the brownie, which brought a beautiful smile to the beautiful Margarita, and she'd been having a tough time. So well done, Colombians. You're wonderful people.
But the Coast Guard still had to do his job, and we had to leave this place. I went to the island to gather the drying fish. No pieces missing at all. That's a piece of luck. This dried fish will help us out in a pinch, but I think we need a few more jars just in case. With all the reefs we've seen so far being bare, we could be in trouble.